Hi, I'm Ryan Harrison. I'm the owner of R&D Truck Driving School, and I want to perform a full pre-trip for the year 2025 on how to pass your pre-trip on your inspection part of your test. The first thing I start with is 3 points of contact getting in and out of the vehicle. So I open my door, always use 3 points of contact getting in the vehicle. And when you get out of the vehicle, use 3 points of contact, always back out. So I'm going to get in and I'm going to start my pre-trip on the in-cab and my brake test. Okay, this is the way I like to start my in-cab and brake test for the pre-trip. First thing I like to do is my emergency equipment first. My seatbelt is part of my emergency equipment, or at least I consider it to be. My seatbelt's not worn, torn, cut, or frayed. It latches and unlatches properly for safety. This way, if you have it on, you don't move the truck and get in trouble for it not being on. So another part of my emergency equipment, underneath of my bunk, I have a properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware fire extinguisher that's rated and dated for this truck. It's also fully charged with the safety pin in place. You do not have to show it to them, but it is mounted properly underneath of my bunk. Also under the bunk, I have 3 reflective standalone triangles in case you break down on the road. They're also properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, or broken, not missing any hardware. Okay, and I finish here with my emergency equipment for this truck. I've got extra fuses that are rated for this truck. And up top, I got some extra light bulbs and glad hand seals for this truck. So before we start the truck, we always want to say the brakes are set and your truck's in neutral. And then we do a safe start. We just turn the key on, watch all your gauges come on and go off. What you're looking for here is your 2 ABS lights. You have one for the tractor and one for the trailer. They need to come on and they need to go out, both on the tractor and the trailer. We wait for our engine light to shut off and always make mention that you have no regen light on. The regen is something new because they wasn't around before 2006. It cleans your exhaust out. So it's telling me that it's clean and good to go. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and start my truck. Okay, so I'm going to do the first governor kickout. You need to perform 2 of these during your brake test. So what I'm going to do is give the truck a little gas, watch my primary and secondary air tank start building air. When it reaches a PSI of 120 to 140, you should hear a sneeze, which it has to cut off between 120 and 140. This one typically cuts off about 125, 127. Okay, just passing 110 now. I'm right at 120. You could hear that sneeze, and it happened at 125. So now I'd like to do my trailer and my tractor tug test first. I got to check each tractor and trailer individually to make sure the brakes are holding. Just put the truck in any low gear. Always like to check my trailer brake first because I want to make sure my trailer is hooked properly and my brakes are holding. So just do a gentle tug. Gently let out on the clutch till you feel it pull. Put the truck back in neutral. Set the tractor brake and let them know it's a successful test because the trailer brake held us in place. Now perform the exact same test on my tractor by releasing my trailer brake. Put the truck back into any low forward gear. Do a gentle tug on it with the clutch. Put it back in neutral. Set the trailer brake. So that was a successful tractor and trailer tug test. Now I need to check my service brake test. Your service brake is just your brake pedal on the floor. I like to put the manual truck in third gear and let out the clutch gently. And when I apply the brake and the clutch at the same time, it should stop at a straight line, which would indicate you do not have any sticky service brakes. So I'll perform that test now. Clutch all the way in, put it in third gear. You want to lightly hold the steering wheel. Let the clutch completely come all the way out. That gets you about 5 or 6 miles an hour. Push the clutch back in, gently come to a stop. Put the truck back in neutral, set your brakes. As you can see in that test, it did not pull one side or the other, which would indicate a sticky brake. So that was a successful test. So now, I told you earlier, we have to do 2 governor kickouts. This is where you need to build your air back up again and do your second governor kickout. We're sitting at about 100 right now, so I'm just going to rev it up and listen for the governor to sneeze. Okay, my gauges are rising. I'm at 120. We should hear a sneeze any second. There's my sneeze, so that gives me a full tank of air. Now in this test, if we were on uneven ground, I'd have to get out and chop my wheels because I have to turn my truck off, turn the key back on, and I need to release my brakes because I'm doing an air leak test. My test site here is on even ground, so my tester doesn't require me to get out and chock the wheels because you're in neutral and you're releasing both brakes. What we're doing is listening for the air to release all the brakes on the truck. And I'm going to do an air leak test. So my gauges always settle just above 100 psi on my primary and my secondary air tanks. So they've settled now. So this is my brake pressure gauge. All I do is hold a good constant pressure on my brake pedal. And my needles are going to settle, my air pressure needles are going to settle at or just below 100 psi. So as soon as they stop settling back, I'm going to ask my tester to start a 1-minute timer. And in this 1 minute, I have to hold the brake pressure and let him know that this truck does not drop more than 4 pounds of pressure in this 1-minute test because it's a combination vehicle. Now, if it didn't have a trailer hooked to it, it would only be a single, so it's only 3 psi. So I'm going to perform that test now because he started the timer because they've settled. I hold it for 1 full minute. And please, if you test anywhere, do not let that brake go under 1 minute because that could auto fail you. So as soon as the tester tells you the time's up, all you have to do is release the brake pedal and explain. This truck didn't drop any brake and it didn't lose any air in that 1 minute test. So it's within the guidelines of 4 psi in 1 minute in this combination vehicle. Okay, or if it was a single truck, it would be 3. Okay, now I'm going to check that when my air pressure continues to drop, I need to hear or see a low pressure warning light come on. So picture yourself daydreaming, riding down the road. You don't know you're losing air. You need to have an alarm come on and let you know you're dropping air, that you have a problem. So all I'm going to do is fan the brakes down until I hear and see an alarm in this truck. And that has to happen above 55 psi. Here, once again, primary, secondary. We're looking at the primary here. Just fan your brakes. There's my low pressure light illuminated on the dash, and it also sounded an alarm that I'm dropping pressure, and that did indeed in fact happen above 55 psi. So that's also a successful brake test. Okay, now I'm going to do an emergency spring brake pop-out test. If you continue to drop air, both valves should pop out for your tractor and trailer, and that should happen above 20 psi. The key to it is the tractor should never come out first. They can come out at the same time. Most of the time, the trailer's just ahead of the tractor. So I'll perform that test now to show you how it works. So all I'm doing is bleeding the brakes back and watching my spring brakes. Okay, it was a successful test because my tractor didn't come out first, the trailer come out first. Okay, at this time, I'm going to go ahead and restart my vehicle because I'm going to build my air back up and I'm going to finish my in-cab. That pretty much completes your brake test. That's how the brake test works. If you do it that way, you'll have no problems passing your test with any tester. Okay, my truck's in neutral. My brakes are set. I'm going to go ahead and start my truck and build my air back up. Now, while I'm building my air back up, I'm going to look at my sheet and just start doing the rest of my end cap. I like to start with my lighting indicators first here. And if you have the sheet with you, you can see lighting indicators is number 4. We've already did all of our brake checks. Now I'm on lighting indicators because we started with emergency equipment. So I'm going to just check all my lighting indicators. The first one that comes on is my marker clearance lights come on because my dash light's dimmed. My second switch in this Peterbilt, my low beam headlight should be on. I got a high beam indicator right here that comes on. Now I'm going to check my left turn signal, my right turn signal, and my hazard lights. So all my lights on the inside work. We're not checking the outside yet. We're going to ask the tester to get out in a few minutes to do all the external lights. So just shut your lights back out. This is a good time to mention to your tester that you have enough fuel for your trip and you have over 1/8 of a tank of DEF. Never let the truck get below 1/8 of a tank of DEF or it will start shutting down on you. Very important. Always check your fuel and DEF. Okay, so now I'm going to start with the rest of the end cap. I always like to start on the outside here with my traffic monitoring devices. I have 3 of them, or mirrors. They're all properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, or broken, not missing any hardware. And you also want to mention they have no illegal stickers on them. And they're also adjusted to me, the driver. My windshield, it's properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, broken, not missing any hardware, and it also has no illegal stickers on it. As you can see, it's not cracked, doesn't appear to be leaking. Wipers and washers. In a Peterbilt, you can just press your wipers and washers and talk about them. My wiper blades sweep and clean my window properly. They spray my window. They do their job. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, missing any hardware, and the rubber's not dry rotted. Okay, so now I just come right around. You have, in your pre-trip, you have to check your heat and defrost. Turn it on, check your floor vents, check and make sure you got heater and defroster. And if you look at your sheet, it's all of this is on here. It's just, I'm explaining to you how to talk about it. The next thing I always say, if I feel like I've done everything, I'm going to celebrate because I'm done my in-cab and brake test at this point. So you check your city horn and your air horn. And that completes my in-cab and brake test. At this point, I'm going to ask the tester to get out and do number 10 to check all of my external lights. Okay, and for the purpose of this video, I'm going to let him do it from the inside. But it's all I'm going to do is roll down my window so the tester can hear me. I'm going to shut my truck off. All my lights should be out. He's outside. I'm going to ask him to check all of my external lights at this time. Whoever the tester might be, my marker clearance light should be on. He's going to give me a thumbs up. My headlights should be on. My low beams and my high beams. He's going to give me a thumbs up. I'm going to do left turn signal, thumbs up. Right turn signal, thumbs up. Four-way hazard or flashers, thumbs up. You turn it back to marker clearance. Turn your flashers off. Mr. Tester, can you walk down the side of my truck and trailer? Check in my marker clearance lights should be on my truck and trailer. He's going to give me a thumbs up. Now he's in the back. The first thing you want to mention that your tail lights should be on. Your marker clearance tail lights. Then you got left, right, four-way hazards, and your brake lights. Then he's going to walk up and we're both going to jump out of the truck. Okay, now we're getting out of the truck and we're going to start the external part of the pre-trip at this time. We walk to the front. I unlock the side latch here just so I don't have to walk back around when we get to the other side. All right, I'm going to continue with the external part of my pre-trip. The first thing I like to do on the front, I want to get a visual of the front of my vehicle. I'm checking for the 3 L's, I call this. I'm looking at all my lenses on my front of my truck. They're all properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, or broken, and they are the proper color. I'm going to look underneath of my truck for any hanging hoses or wires. Make sure I don't see any leaks. That's the second L. And I want to make sure that my truck's not leaning to one side or the other. That could indicate a tire issue, a suspension issue, or possibly even a cargo shift. And now we're going to go up and open the hood. And in your test, you are required to show that you can open your own hood. We can't help you do that. So all you do is release it, depending on what truck you're in. This one opens pretty easy from the side. It's also equipped with a safety latch so the wind doesn't blow shut on you, which is good because it's windy in Utah. Okay, this is how I start my pre-trip on this Peterbilt. Depending on what's on each side of the truck, this is how it always starts, with a general overview of all your hoses and wires. You can see all your hoses seem to have all the clamps in place. I don't see any abrasions, bulges, cuts, dry rots, or leaks in any of my hoses. They're not missing any hardware. The biggest thing is you don't see any leaks. Your electric lines, you want to make sure that you check for any worn, torn, cut, frayed, loose electric lines. Everything seems to be properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware. This is my coolant reservoir and my cap. Group them together. It makes the pre-trip go quicker. My cap and my reservoir is properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, broken, missing any hardware. And as you can see, it's not leaking. It has a sight glass, and you can also check your level here. If you can't see it, then of course you would have to take the lid off. But this one you can see that it's full. That's all you have to do on this side of the vehicle. Now we're going to move to the driver's side. All right, we're on the driver's side of the Peterbilt now. Once again, start with a general overview. Look at all of your electrical connections, all of your hoses. You're listening for any audible or see any visual leaks, no dry rot in none of your hoses. All your electrics, this here's the brains of the truck. You want to make sure you don't have any worn, torn, cut, frayed, loose wires. Once again, general overview of all of the components. I like to start here with my dipstick. Perform how to check your oil. Just pull the dipstick out, wipe it off, put it back in, pull it out, make sure it's in the safe zone. If you needed to add oil, this is where you fill the oil. Make sure that the cap itself, properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware. Don't see any leaks in any of my oil fittings or my tube, where my fill tube is. This is my power steering pump reservoir end cap. As you can see, it's full. If you can't see, we take the lid off, check it. It's properly mounted and secured. Nothing's cracked, damaged, broken, missing any hardware, and it doesn't appear to be leaking. Now I like to go right to my steering components. This is my steering shaft, my power steering shaft. It's properly mounted and secured. Anything metal you want to add that there's no illegal welds or drill holes. The verbiage is the same. It's all properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, or broken, not missing any hardware. When we get to these boots, you can point out all of the boots that's on this side of the engine, okay? All of my rubber boots, because there's a bunch of them on this side of the engine. I have rubber boots on all of my steering components, and also my front and rear leaf spring hangers have rubber boots. Point them out. Get in there and point to them and say they're just not excessively worn. That way you don't have to talk about them each individual. It makes your pre-trip go quicker. And we've already did our power steering pump reservoir, so we're going to drop down to our gearbox. Also mention these hoses again. You're always checking. No abrasions, bulges, cuts, dry rot, or leak, not missing any hardware. This leads down to your power steering gearbox. All the proper mounted and secured hardware is there. Once again, it's metal, no illegal welds or drill holes in it, and it doesn't appear to be leaking. Okay, this is, people get confused on the parts of your steering. I like to group all of these together. This is called a pitman arm. This long linkage here is a drag link. Right here you have an upper control arm. You can't see it from that angle, but underneath you have a lower control arm that connects to your tie rod that ties both of your tires together. To eliminate them all at one time, just say they're all properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, or broken, not missing any hardware, and no illegal welds or drill holes. They're all secured in place with castle nuts and cotter pins. All of the linkage is tied. The little nut on top looks like a castle or a crown. They'll take either or. You just need to say they're all properly secured with castle nuts and cotter keys. Okay, so that eliminates all of my steering components at one shot. So now I'm going to go to my suspension. My shock absorber is black, so I had to put a piece of fluorescent tape on it so people wouldn't forget it. You want to mention that it's properly mounted and secured to the frame of the truck, of course, and also down above your leaf springs. Properly mounted and secured top and bottom. Once again, it has hydraulic fluid in it. You want to make sure that you tell them it's not leaking. So it's properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware, top and bottom, and not leaking. The rest of my suspension, I have 2 leaf springs, so I need to say they're properly mounted and secured with leaf spring hangers on front and rear. Properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware. No illegal welds or drill holes. They're also properly mounted and secured to the axle with U-bolts, not missing any hardware, no illegal welds or drill holes. You want to specify your hangers front and back, so they're secured in the front and back with leaf spring hangers. Also, being it's 2 leaf springs, you always want to mention that they're not scissored or twisted. Okay, suspension's done at that point. So now I'm going to come out to my brake system. The little line here is electrical. It's your ABS line. It's not worn, torn, cut, or frayed. Properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware. This is your brake line to your spring brakes. It's properly mounted and secured. Doesn't appear to be abrasions, bulges, dry rots. It's not leaking. This is my brake can or brake chamber, brake canister. It's properly mounted and secured. The clamp's present and tight, not missing any hardware, no illegal welds or drill holes. Then that leads into my calipers and rotors. This truck has disc brakes on it, so you want to specify what types of brakes you have. This one happens to have disc on the front. The biggest thing you're checking here is it's all properly mounted and secured, your calipers and rotors, not missing any hardware. They don't have any legal welds or drill holes. The biggest thing you're checking here is there's no contaminants on it that would cause a sticky brake. Because if you hit your brakes and it has contaminants on it, it's going to pull one side or the other. So really important that you check all that out. Now I'm going to check my rims. You want to specify inner and outer of your rims, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, or broken, no illegal welds or drill holes, not missing any hardware. Come up, the inner and outer sidewalls, and the tire is beaded to the rim properly. No abrasions, bulges, cuts, dry ruts, or leaks in either the bead or the sidewalls. Come across, make sure your steer tires are evenly worn, and they must have at least 4/32 of tread depth, and I can check that with a tread depth gauge. Come out to the outside, I'm gonna look at all my lug nuts. They all seem to be present and tight, not missing any hardware. I don't see any spider cracking in my rim, which would indicate over tightening. I don't see any rust or dust trails or oblong holes, which would indicate looseness. This is my valve stem and cover. This is where I check and fill my air to the proper manufacturer specs on the side of the tire. And most steer tires are 110 to 120. The biggest thing is your valve stem's properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware or not leaking. That concludes the engine part and the suspension part of the pre-trip. Okay, now I'm going to start the external tractor and trailer inspection. Once again, we got to check our traffic monitoring devices. Make sure they're properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, broken, missing any hardware. No illegal stickers, same as the inside, except you just don't have to say they're adjusted to you, only when you're in the driver's seat. Drop down. I have lenses on the side of my truck and my trailer. Combine them together. They're all properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, or broken, and they're all the proper color. Drop down. This is my battery box. You do not have to open this for my tester. You just want to make sure that all your batteries are properly mounted and secured, none missing. The wires aren't worn, torn, cut, or frayed. I don't see any excessive corrosion. And the biggest thing is here, make sure you're not leaking any acid out of them. Okay, this truck's equipped with the DEF system. Once again, combine your tank and your lid. The DEF tank, if it was leaking, you'd see crystallization around it because when DEF fluid hits the air, it freezes. My cap and tank are properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, broken, no missing hardware, and they aren't leaking. Okay, at this point, we're going to move to the back of the tractor. I like to start with my tractor frame. There are two of them on your test, one for your tractor and trailer, but I like to do them separately. My tractor frame, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, broken. It's metal, no illegal welds or drill holes, not missing any hardware. The verbiage is the same. Now I move to my coupling. This is pretty extensive, but it's very important in your pre-trip. This is your red emergency airline. This is your blue emergency glad hand airline. They're both properly mounted and secured to the truck and trailer. Inside, you have glad hand seals. You want to make sure they're not dry rotted or leaking. The biggest thing is they're properly mounted, secured, truck and trailer, not leaking. Electric line, same verbiage, except not worn, torn, cut, or frayed. It's locked to the trailer and it's locked in place to the truck. They're all suspended off of my catwalk. You don't ever want them dragging because it'll cut holes in your airlines. And also your electric box. Also make sure it's not hanging off. You want to make sure it's not missing any hardware. Properly mounted and secured. Now we're going to come around and go underneath of it, and this will be the apron part of the coupling. It's a heavy-duty piece of metal that's weight-bearing, properly mounted and secured to the trailer, not cracked, damaged, broken, no illegal welds or drill holes, not missing any hardware. Let the truck guide you. Come down. I don't see any daylight between my apron and my skid plate assembly itself, so it's mounted properly to the top of the skid plate. No daylight. On top of the skid plate, you always want to make sure it's greased. It makes your turns easier when you're pulling a trailer. So it's properly greased. My skid plate itself is properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware. No illegal welds or drill holes. It's secured in place with a safety pin. Very important to make sure that that safety pin's in place. This is the release handle that locks the locking jaws around it. You want to make sure that it's not bent, broken, damaged, not missing any hardware, and no illegal welds or drill holes. And it's also in that lock travel position. Okay, from there, I like to say I got enough spacing between my drive tires and the bottom of my trailer. And I also have enough spacing between my drive tires and my landing gear assembly. At this point, I would walk underneath with a flashlight to make sure that my locking jaws are wrapped around the shank of the Kingpin so I know my trailer's not going to fall off. And also, you want to make sure that your shank of the Kingpin that's properly mounted and secured to the bottom of the trailer, it's not bent, damaged, no illegal welds or drill holes, and not missing any hardware. At that point, you're done with coupling. Okay, now I'm on the side of my trailer. Very important, it's a DOT rule. You gotta have at least 50% of DOT reflective tape on the side of your trailer. It's 100% on the back, but you only need 50. It's not worn, torn, frayed, it's reflective in nature. Once again, I told you we had 2 frames. Second frame, trailer frame, properly mounted and secured, no illegal welds or drill holes, not missing any hardware. Go right underneath of your trailer. These are cross members underneath of the trailer floor. You have to say they're properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, broken, not missing any hardware, metal, so no illegal welds or drill holes. Check the floor of your trailer because you have forklifts go in and out. You want to make sure your floor is not sagging or has any holes. So properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware, no holes. Now I'm on my landing gear. The whole assembly is welded to the bottom of my trailer, so it's properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware, and no illegal welds or drill holes. The handle, the crank handle that raises your feet and legs up and down, it's properly locked in the travel position, no illegal welds or drill holes, not missing any hardware. 2 parts, feet and legs. They're both in the upright travel position, not missing any hardware, no illegal welds or drill holes. Landing gear is done. Now we're going to move to the back of the trailer. Okay, if you do not have an adjustable tandem on the back of your trailer, which mine doesn't adjust because it's a pup trailer, you have to mention that in your pre-trip. It does not move. It's a stationary tandem axle on the back of this trailer. Once again, we already talked about the lenses. This is your ABS light, the one we said comes on and goes off from inside the cab. This is just a red marker light. All right, we're at the back of the trailer. We're almost home free now. Same way we did the front. Check all your lenses first. All properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, or broken, and are all the proper color. I mentioned on the side of the trailer we have 50% of DOT tape on the back, or on the side. On the back, you need 100% DOT tape on the back of your trailer. It's reflective in nature. It's not cracked, damaged, or broken. And that should conclude my pre-trip, but I'm going to verify on the sheet that my tester lets me carry with me. I'm going to scroll back through and make sure I didn't miss anything. I feel comfortable that that does complete my pre-trip. And now we're just on to skills part of the test.